right, today we're going to demonstrate how to hang a bear bag. So first of all, when do you need a bear bag? Or a bear canister works really well too. In this case, we hiked about 4.5 miles into the wilderness. We set up our camp. We're going to be staying for a couple nights, and we need to hang our bear bag to suspend it off of the ground in a safe way so that bears and other animals can't get at it. First off, the location of where to hang a bear bag. You want to be at least 100 to 200 yards away from your tent, preferably downwind, so that any of the scent from your bear bag that's blowing and drifting in the wind isn't drifting past your camp, but it's drifting away and down the valley or down the creek or downwind away from your camp. So what goes in the bear bag? Pretty much anything that has food or scent. So utensils you cook with, cooking gear, all of your food, all of your snacks, toiletries, things like toothpaste, even soap if it's scented, sunscreen, all of that goes in the bear bag. What works well as a bear bag? You can use just a dry sack, something that has a hook or a loop or some way to attach paracord to it. They also make a product now called an sack, which is almost an impenetrable material that a bear can't get in. They'll crush the crap out of your food, but they won't be able to get into it. That's a preferable way. In this case, we have a kit made by WX Tech, so it's a 25-liter waterproof bag. It's got a vent so you can purge all of the extra air out of it. And then we have 50 feet of heavy paracord. This looks like about 550. And it also has a little stuff sack tied onto the end of the paracord for holding a rock and throwing it up over a tree. So to get started, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the rope up into the tree is our first step. So revisiting the goal, in this case, we found a couple of trees. This is a little bit farther apart than I usually like, but we have one tree with some decent branches here, and then about 20 or 30 feet away, we have another big tree with some decent branches. So the goal of what we're going to do is we're going to get the rope up over one branch from one tree, across to a branch on the other tree, and suspend the bear bag on the rope in between those. So the first step is hanging the rope. So I mentioned earlier, this cool little kit comes with a sack for the rope. If you don't have a sack, you could get a little stuff sack if you wanted, but it also works to just make a few loops of the rope around the rock, tie it off, and you're good to go there. So in this case, put a rock in the sack, zip it close. Now the other key, the paracord can easily get tangled up. So you want to make sure you have it ready to throw, that the paracord is going to be nice and loose when you throw it up over. We don't want any loops tied off. We don't want the carabiner or anything else tied in it that could get stuck up and hung up in the tree. We'll add those in a bit. So first, let's throw the rope over. So as I mentioned, we want to make sure this is going to throw nicely and not get hung up. So I'll prepare the rope at least enough, nice and loose. Now we'll see how lucky I get with my first throw here. So I found some pretty sturdy limbs that can support the weight and support pulling to hoist the bear bag up. In this case, I'm just going to go up and over. That actually worked out pretty perfectly. Okay, so we're all set there. We're up over this tree. Now, one mistake I've seen in the past quite a bit is people will use one tree. They'll do something like this. They'll hook their bear bag on the end. They'll hoist it up, and it's hanging. You want it at least 10 feet off the ground. But if it's too close to the tree, the bear can easily climb that tree, get out on that limb, access the sack no problem. So in this case, we're going to do my preferred method, which I think is the right way to hang a bear bag, and suspend it, as I mentioned earlier, between these two trees. So we don't want to stop here and call it good. In some cases, you can find a really good deadfall tree that's leaning at an angle and get up and over, where you have plenty of clearance and tie it off at a different lashing point. But in this case, like I said, this is my preferred method. So we're going to pull some of the rope up and over. Like I said, we got all of those, all the loops and tangles out so that it doesn't end up getting permanently tangled in the tree and we just lost our bear bag. I've barely got enough rope to work with. It'd be nice if I had about 25 more feet for this setup with these trees, but we'll make do. So now I tied it off there to the point where it's still accessible. I'm going to pull it tight. Make sure it's going to support the weight. This kit actually came with this, but it's just a little mini carabiner. So we're going to tie off a loop and hook the carabiner. And the goal is that then we can shimmy both sides of the rope once we're up and over the other tree and clip our bear bag easily on and off with this carabiner. So I'm going to come here, which is kind of an estimate. Like I said, we can adjust it more here in a minute, but an estimate of about where the middle point is. And I'm going to tie a quick little loop in there, and I hook the carabiner. Now this is key. I want to find a good sturdy branch to hold that carabiner before I go throw the other rock up over the other tree. Otherwise, when I throw the rock and pull the rope up, then my carabiner is suspended up in the air and I have no way to get at it. So once again, we make sure that we've got tangles out of the rope. Step back here a little bit, pick another good stout tree to throw this over. It didn't yank free, which is good. That seems pretty sturdy. So now the final step is to hoist our bear bag. So this thing has a convenient little eyelet. Put the carabiner in there. I got my bear bag, and we're done. No, I'm just kidding. We got to hang it up on this side. So now we've got it on that side. Now I can pull until that's nice and sturdy. We're suspended right in the middle between those two trees, at least 10 feet off the ground. And then I'm going to pull this back, and we're going to find a good lash point back here to tie it off. So now you can pretend that I'm a bear, and I can smell it, I can see it, I can't get at it. I'm going to be a little confused if I try to go up that tree and reach for it. It would be really difficult for me to get a hold of that rope or that paracord and tear that loose or figure out what's going on enough to get at that food. So with a bear bag, that's about as safe of a hang as we can get. I hope you enjoyed this Outly tip video, and we'll see you outside.